While people in Gaza battle hunger, they're also under constant Israeli bombardment. Attacks have killed at least 11 Palestinians since dawn on Sunday, including 5 who were looking for food. At least 2 were killed near a food site operated by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Israel has repeatedly attacked hungry Palestinians at the site near the Netzarim Corridor in central Gaza. The injured have been taken to the al-Awda hospital. And overnight, Israeli warplanes have carried out waves of airstrikes in northern Gaza. In Jabalia, ground troops detonated an explosive device planted in the city. Israeli forces are targeting densely populated residential areas, forcing families to move south. And the Israeli military plans to seize Gaza City in a large-scale offensive. Now, tanks have been moving through the neighbourhood of Sabra. It follows days of intense bombardment. Tens of thousands of reservists have been called up for the military operation. And funerals are being held for Palestinians killed in Israeli strikes on Gaza City. Mourners have been gathering at the Al-Shifa hospital. We're going to speak to Hani Mahmoud, who is in Gaza City. Hani, we've been seeing on some of the agency feeds here, there have been some airdrops over Deir al-Balah in particular. Can you just talk to us about what's been happening?
Yes, Rob. In fact, we've been seeing these planes flying over Gaza City, coming from the northern western part of the Gaza Strip and passing through the skies of Gaza and do the airdrop in central area. We counted up to 3 military cargo planes flying over the Gaza Strip, and this is for almost a month been going on, and it's most sporadic and unsafe and unpredictable way, dropping pallets of food attached to parachutes falling on 10 sites or residential buildings. Some of these residential buildings are still standing and intact. But if people think this is a relief line, wait until you talk to people. Not only the amount of food in these parachutes and pallets that dropped on the ground here is insufficient, but the kind of food that is in these pallets does not address the spread of famine, does not address the deepening of humanitarian crisis. People are still lacking access to vital elements like protein and vitamins. The children are deprived from much of the nutrients that is needed for their growth. We're talking about vegetable and fruits and other basic elements. That's from the part that the people are lacking now to have proper access. But airdropping, apart from the fact that it's not safe and it's unpredictable, it's sporadic, it's causing much of the internal fightings among the hungry crowds across the Gaza Strip. We see much of the infighting between people because it's a survival mode. It's not about safety right now as much as it's about survival and the ability to survive and stay alive amid these difficult conditions. It also, many of the documented cases where these pallets attached to these parachutes fell directly on people or tent sites, killing or injuring people as they were waiting for it. This is the form of relief that is the Israeli military has directed to Palestinians that has been deadly so far.
And Hani, we can't, of course, forget that the attacks are continuing. We were talking about the Israeli warplanes carrying waves of airstrikes in northern Gaza just in the last several hours. I want to ask you, though, we're getting reports about ground troops detonating an explosive device in Jabalia, planted in the city there. What more do we know about that?
Well, this is one of the lethal ways the Israeli military has been implementing so far across the Gaza Strip. It does save occupying soldiers on the ground because they don't approach these densely populated areas. Rather, they move these explosive devices, form of robotics, vehicles that are moved within these densely populated areas during the night time. They're planted in areas strategically that when they detonate and explode, they cause massive scale of destruction to the targeted areas and its surrounding. Eyewitnesses describe massive explosions and shrapnels flying as far as 1 kilometer at the diameter size area in Jabalia and a Zaytun neighborhood. One person who was at least 1.5 kilometers away from the explosion site reported collecting many of these shrapnels falling in the balconies of his home, and that's 1.5 kilometers. So imagine the kind of damage and the scale of destruction caused to the nearby buildings and of course, people who are trapped in these areas. Doctors in hospital report receiving cases other than those who are directly injured or killed by these explosive devices. Those who inhale the smoke from these explosions suffer from respiratory problems now, inability to breathe properly. They had to be put on ventilators. And by the way, none of this is available in the hospital, only a few of them, and they had to take turns between patients in order to save lives as much as they can. But that's one of the tactics used by the Israeli military. During the night, the sound of these explosions are massive and they come from all directions. They're planted at night, started to detonate at early hours of the morning, just causing a state of panic and fear among already displaced and traumatized population.
Hani Mahmoud in Gaza City. Hani, thank you.
Don't miss out and get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.